Welcome to the Pathways to Surrender podcast. I'm Michael Warmoth, and thank you for joining us for this guided meditation. Let's take a moment now to just get settled in, get comfortable and relaxed. Maybe close our eyes and take some breaths and just listen to the music before the meditation starts. The question that we face when we come to meditate, and really is the question we face every moment, is whether we will allow ourselves to accept and acknowledge that in fact everything in this moment is exactly as it should be, and the only way it could be, and that in fact there is nothing wrong in this moment. There is nothing bad. There is no evil. There is no force against us, no power against us. The source of our struggle and suffering is our resistance to it, accepting the truth. The ego and the identity were created out of a desperate need for a new kind of truth, so that we could proceed in the face of some overwhelming trauma or conditioning. But now we have no need for that. Our survival is not dependent on controlling ourselves or the world around us. So the question that we face is, are we willing to accept that there is a truth right now, in this moment, that is absolute and universal, and in that truth is the knowing of our own goodness, our own divine nature, which is the ultimate truth about us. So just consider that is a choice you have right now. If you ask yourself, am I willing to accept that there is nothing wrong, that I am actually okay, that goodness is my nature? What happens when you ask yourself that question? It would not be unexpected or unusual that might seem impossible or incomprehensible, so far from what we actually feel about ourselves, think about ourselves in this moment. But consider this. We know the truth is real. There is within us the absolute, unshakable knowing the truth is real, that there is an infinite and unified consciousness, that we are inseparable from. That is known within each and every one of us. The resistance that's born out of the fear that that's not true about us. The conditioning, the trauma, whatever the circumstances and situations were, has convinced us that there is something wrong with us. There is some problem with us. But that is just an idea, a theory, an imagining. It is created in our own minds out of the impossibility of understanding what happened when we are young and dependent, that it's not difficult for us to believe the things that happen to us, the bad things around us, are somehow our fault. That they say something about us, but they don't. We must learn how to remind ourselves that the truth can only be true for us and everyone. It is the only truth, the only reality. It is absolute and universal. What is within us is the grace and light and love that is the absolute nature of the truth. We have, for the most part, for most of us, struggled all our lives to try and fix ourselves in so many ways, to try and be better, to try to make up for our failures and our faults. But that is not reality. We can never get there. As soon as we acknowledge the possibility that there is something wrong or bad, we are stuck in duality, where it is impossible to find peace. So let us be clear with ourselves that the truth is the only reality. No matter how much resistance and struggle we feel when we try to acknowledge the truth, it remains true. And the struggle and the resistance are the undoing of our conditioning. Any being that has been conditioned with fear will experience fear when overcoming that conditioning. Be kind with yourself. Be compassionate. Recognize that pain caused you to turn away from the love and light of your authentic self. There is no place for judgment. There is no truth in the idea that you have somehow not been good enough, that you have failed, or you are weak, or whatever the words of judgment we use about ourselves. There is no truth in them. Our resistance calls for compassion, for forgiveness of ourselves. Our trust was broken. We made the decision that our will was all we had. But now we hear the truth. We hear that there is a greater will, the one consciousness. And we know that to be true somewhere within us. We are not alone. We do not have to make everything right. We do not have to fix anything. Everything we could ever want is available to us in every moment. Your resistance does not mean there is anything wrong. In fact, it could almost be said there might be something wrong if you didn't resist. There is nothing wrong right now. No matter how much your ego can list all the reasons that you should believe there is something wrong, the truth is that the peace and love and light of the infinite consciousness is real within you right now. There is no question of that. Life would not exist without it. We would not exist if it was not the truth. Yes, there is fear within us. That is not unexpected. It is not wrong. But that fear cannot harm us. It cannot stop us if we are clear about what we truly want. Fear is not a power. We have given it power, but it is not a power. We are not powerless victims. one with the infinite consciousness, an infinite creative power, an infinite intelligence. There is nothing missing from us. We can name our fear and see it for what it is. When it is seen for what it is, it dissolves. We don't have to stop what we are doing because of fear. So many of us have felt so much fear in our lives that we don't even know what it is. We just think it's natural and part of us, part of the way things work. Just like we may believe that our resistance is some kind of power against us, that we have too much resistance, that our resistance defines us and controls us. That is impossible. But we are so used to believing in opposing forces. It's hard for us to accept that we are a unified being, one with the one consciousness, that we are an expression of a perfect source, that the light and love, the peace is present within us and is our nature, that nothing but good is our nature. Just notice what happens within you when you contemplate that there is nothing but good within you. Just feel what that does to you. It is always our decision right now what we will accept as the truth about us. But there is only one truth that is real. That truth is always true, is always the reality of the moment. And if we choose not to accept that truth, then we will suffer and struggle. We will judge ourselves and others, and we will certainly not find peace. If we make the decision to accept the truth, we may experience all kinds of things. But if we are devoted to making that acceptance the choice, then nothing can stop us from knowing the peace of the truth. It may not come in this moment. We may not be willing to let go completely in this moment. But if we can come to the acceptance of that even, our state will change. Come to peace with yourself. Make the choice to accept what is true and judge nothing about your experience. The light of the infinite is within you. It can light the darkness of our judgments.
Thank you for listening. If you would like more information on these meditations and teachings, you can visit pathwaystosurrender.com. You might be interested in our other podcast, Pathways to Wholeness. These are episodes of meditative teachings designed to help us move to the next step in our journey, letting go and learning to surrender, overcoming resistance. That's Pathways to Wholeness. Look for the next episode soon.